Hey guys, welcome back to Project White Fang, where we're currently installing the trunk battery relocation kit in the trunk. I already drilled the 2 pilot holes. The way this kit is set up is you'll drill through the chassis. You want to find a nice placement. When talking with everybody on the Mustang forums, Maximum Motorsport, anybody in the drag racing world, even though this will be a street car, you'll always want to place the battery as far back in the back of your trunk that you possibly can, but still have access to certain things. This will not allow me to run any of my material in the trunk, but since it's just going to be a bare bones car, I don't really care. So this is going to set as it is. I'll start laying out the battery cables, finish the wiring. I ended up having to rewire everything from all the way to the trunk and to every harness. So I just did a total swap from my 98 to the 94. I've gotten almost everything in that I need to, except a couple of small bushings on our IRS. So let's go take a look at that. This is the 0304 Cobra IRS. I'll be running Bilstein coilovers in the rear through Maximum Motorsports valving. As you can see, this is kind of an already built IRS. I already have my brace. It's hard mounted up here, but what I need to do to really make this thing as functional as possible is these bushings are still the factory rubber bushings. They're going to have to be swapped out for some Delrin bushings, just so there's very little bind, which will then allow this shock and spring to do a more accurate job of planting the rear end in turns, out of turns, and during acceleration. So that's kind of what we're waiting on right now on the IRS. Is I just need my bushings to come in for the upper and lower control arms. I'm going to hard mount the IRS into the chassis, much like you would a K-member on the engine side of the car. I don't believe that this should ever have been mounted with factory bushings. And when you talk to a few people and you wonder why wouldn't they do that from the factory, because this was an afterthought and it had to go into the chassis itself from the factory. They didn't have a lot of time and precision to, as this went down the assembly line, to make sure it was hard mounted much like a K-member. So they put rubber bushings in, so for every little forgiveness they wanted this thing to go in the chassis in about 15 to 20 seconds per cradle. So, and since they only went in the Cobras, they didn't have to worry about it too much, but that's why they're all mounted with rubber bushings everywhere instead of hard mounted like a K-member should be, because the cradle should not move once it's in the car. You want that to remain stable so the control arms can just do their job. We'll go back up front here. We've got the coilover kit installed, got my brakes on, brake lines, got my sway bar. I just got my rod end links. They had to send me a new set from Maximum Motorsport. My other ones did not match this thread pattern. Those will be going on. When you run a Maximum Motorsport K-member, they send you an oil relocation kit with it. So now my new oil filter will be up front. The lines run down and in where the old factory oil filter should be. But this also lets me run a little bit more oil than I would normally run in the vehicle, so that's also a plus. I'm in the process of, which I don't recommend, porting my manifold. Here's why I don't recommend it. This is a factory cammed car. Doesn't have a lot of lift, especially on the Mark 8 engines. But what happened is this was going on a built engine, and I already had started porting 3 of these ports when I lost my engine, or when I thought I was going to build another engine. Let me rephrase that. And I ended up going full suspension instead, but I have to finish this out. And all I'm doing with this port job is simply gasket matching the intake, nothing bigger. So the airflow as it comes through does not get interrupted when it goes into your IMRC plates, which these are deleted. I have epoxied the holes so that no air gets in and out. So this is the 97, 98 plastic versions. And I also have the older, which came on the original 96 and older Mark 8 engine, and this came on the 96 Cobra, which these were epoxied as well. These are okay, they work just fine, but the plastic offers a little bit better heat dissipation, and the gaskets on here are already matched, so they're actually a little bit larger diameter. So when you put these on, well, this is probably the wrong gasket, which it is, but when you put these, no, here you go. When you put these on, these are already matched perfectly. And remember, anything that disrupts airflow or gets air tumbling in a different pattern than what it should be is just turbulence, and it slows everything down. We don't want that. So that's the only reason why I'm actually kind of gasket matching all of this, is just so there's no disruption. On this side, if you look, the gasket is so, they're off so bad when you put them up. So I'm really just cleaning up that material, cleaning up the insides. It's not as ported. We'll get out of the sun. It's not as ported as it looks, even though it's heavily ported. But again, you want even flow. It's not going to give me any benefit whatsoever on low end torque or anything of that nature. But if in the future we can get this thing supercharged, get some better cams put in, raise the RPM range, I'll see a little benefit there on the top upper end. But for right now it's not, but I have to finish it out because I need equal distribution to all 8 cylinders. I'm also in another dilemma, which is when I'm going to put in my roll cage, putting in the plates for the roll cage is going to be a little bit of a challenge, more than what I wanted to deal with. One other thing, we've got our pedal assembly in. Then I'm using the Maximum Motorsport pedal assembly. I haven't bolted it up because I don't know the pedal height I want. It comes already drilled, lightened, but it offsets, so when I run my manual brake conversion, it will set up everything a little higher. So as I come around to the front of the car, there's the adapter. I've not picked up my master cylinder yet, but it actually raises and offsets everything so that I can hopefully have still nice firm pedal feel. I got my steering rack in and my steering shaft in. Hopefully this weekend we'll be able to fire it up. All that's left is we're going to have to run a full 98 fuel system and all the brake lines. So this is going in next. Now that I got the battery relocation kit mounted in the trunk, I had to do that first before I could bolt this up. So hopefully tomorrow we'll have some video footage. We'll try to get the dash in tonight, and if I can get the dash in, all the electrical, get the battery lines ran, get it all fired up, finish porting this tomorrow. It doesn't take that long, a few hours. Hopefully tomorrow night I could fire this over for the first time while I'm still waiting on my rear suspension. And then once I get the suspension, then I can put on my subframe connectors and then get the roll cage in, because you never want to weld unless the car is sitting on all 4 wheels. That's how the chassis was designed from the factory, so your doors open and close. So never take your car anywhere and have a shop weld in subframe connectors or a roll cage with it sitting on the chassis. It actually has to set on the tires. So make sure you remember that. And then we'll see you as soon as we fire this bad boy up. Hopefully tomorrow, Project White Fang. Thanks for staying tuned.